Hi everyone, welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name's Imogen. In today's video, I am sharing how to develop and stick to your own values. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, when I say your own values, I mean your sense of justice, your moral compass, okay? And especially when we're in our early 20s. And obviously, this can be applicable at any stage of life, but I think it's especially important as young adults. We're often discovering a lot about ourselves, about the world, and our own sense of right and wrong, our own sense of morality, our own sense of justice, and, you know, it's really important to define that for yourself. Now, obviously, we'll probably have been taught values as we're growing up, but, you know, they might not always be right, or they might not always accord with your own beliefs, so it's really important to sort of sort out what your own beliefs are and what your own sense of morality of right and wrong looks like. So how do we do that? The first way is to be as informed as possible and to increase your social awareness. So a lot of the time, you can discover your own sense of justice through reading the news, through reading books, and through social interactions. So increase your social awareness as much as possible. Increase your understanding of what's going on in the world, and pay attention to how you feel. So a lot of the time, we're reading a news story, or we're seeing an interaction, or we're reading, you know, a book, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. We'll get a sense of that's really heartwarming, or that's not right. And pay attention to that, and pay attention to what you feel is not right, or I don't like that, or they shouldn't have treated that person that way. Those things are all really valuable, and they can tell you a lot about what your own sense of justice looks like. So increase your social awareness through absorbing as much information as you can. Number 2, the next way that I want to talk about is to learn about different value systems and see which resonate most with you. So I studied politics A-level, that's a very fun fact about me, and during that I learned about a lot of different value systems and kind of understood what different philosophers and politicians thought about the world and about how people relate to each other and just the values that they lived by. So I'm not saying you necessarily have to identify with one value system over another, but it can be helpful to understand what writers, philosophers, politicians, and different social groups, how their approaches to the world kind of feed into how they treat other people, how they treat themselves. Okay, so learning about different value systems can be really, really important. Okay, the next thing that I want to emphasize is that you should always seek to make the world better and to improve the lives of others as well as yourself. Now, this is usually the kind of core of every single value system. The difference between value systems is mainly a debate over the method, okay? So essentially everyone who is a good person subscribes to this value, and that is to seek to make the world better and to improve the lives of other people and improve your own life as well. Now, different people put different levels of emphasis on different parts of this, but fundamentally that is at the core of every positive belief system. And that's kind of just, I mean, obviously that's my opinion, but I think that's quite widely accepted as well. So you should always seek to make the world better and to improve other people's lives and your own life. Now, how you do that is, again, that's a matter of your value system, and different people, like I said, will have different approaches, but fundamentally you should seek to always arrive at that result. Right, having thought about different value systems and your own sense of justice and trying to make the world better and thinking about how you do that, you should support causes which you believe in. Now, for me, a lot of the time I am quite vocal about environmental causes. I'm very vocal about mental health causes. So those two things are things which really mean a lot to me and I'm very vocal about, like trauma and so forth. So try and identify causes which you massively believe in. And just because you identify with a particular cause doesn't mean that you hate all other causes everywhere. It just means that it's particularly important to you, okay? And that might be due to your lived experience, or it might be due to something that you've read about that really resonates with you, okay? So support causes which you believe in. And this doesn't have to be, you know, a full-time job, but, you know, talking about it to people, showing up for it on social media, you know, it could be like attending a rally or something, obviously always non-violent, but support causes which you believe in. It could be through donating if you have the capacity to do that. So yeah, it's really important to be as politically active as you are able to be without, you know, detriment to yourself or detriment to other people, and always, always, always vote. I feel incredibly strongly about this. you have the right to vote. If you're an adult in a democracy and there isn't any other kind of legal reason why you can't vote, you have the right to vote, and you should absolutely use that. Every time that you are asked to vote, you should vote. And ever since I was 18, I have voted in every local election and every general election for which I was eligible. So yeah, I'm walking the talk here, guys. Please vote. All right. That leads me on to my next point quite neatly, which is to be authentic and walk the talk. So stick to the values you hold and live accordingly. Nobody likes a hypocrite, okay? So one of the things that I really try to ensure is that I am living according to the values that I talk about on this channel. So making sure that I'm as kind to people as I possibly can be, that, I'm open with you about my experiences, and, I try and speak honestly and I speak from the heart, okay? So be authentic and walk the talk as much as you can. Obviously, you're entitled to privacy, and there are things that I don't share on this channel because I'm also entitled to privacy, but you should be authentic, stick to the values that you hold, and try and back them up as much as you possibly can. So the environment is a big one for me. Like, yes, sometimes I will take a flight, but in general, I try and ensure that my carbon footprint is a lot lower. Like, my house runs off 100% green energy. I'm trying to make a career in the environmental sector. Okay, so all of these things really feed into my value system. And for mental health, obviously, I show up for that a lot on this channel, try and raise awareness, destigmatize, and so forth. So it's really about showing up for the things that you believe in a way that is authentic to you, okay? And finally, find people who share your values. This is a fun bit, actually. And once you find people who share your values, the self-reinforcing aspect of community can be really strong. And once you find people who share your values, you're often going to be able to make sense of the world a lot more, because you're going to be able to hear their perspectives, hear where they're coming from, and so on and so forth. And that's going to help reinforce your value system. And I'm not necessarily talking about living in an echo chamber. It's important to listen to other viewpoints as well. But if you live in a state of constant conflict and you never find anyone who agrees with you, life can be exhausting, and you do need to put your mental health at a fairly high priority in your life, okay? So obviously, debate is immensely important, but so is finding people who are supportive of you and who share your values, and that is really important for a lot of friendships, for a lot of relationships, and for compatibility socially in general. So obviously, yeah, you can disagree with your friends on some things, but if a value is really important to you and it's a deal breaker, then you shouldn't be afraid to find people who share your values about that. So for me, again, going back to the mental health thing, if someone, routinely invalidated trauma or believes that people should just tough it out, then I don't think that person and me would be very compatible as friends or in a relationship, because that is not the worldview that I have at all. And it's not to do with I think they're a bad person, it's just that it's a fundamental incompatibility. So find people who share your values. On the flip side, I have lots of wonderful friends who absolutely share my values on those sort of fundamental deal breaker levels. And yeah, we disagree about other stuff, whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I'm not going to say which side of the debate I'm on, but I have friends on both sides of the debate. Anyway, find people who share your values, and life will be a lot easier. So that is how to develop and stick to your own values. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!